The guys have fallen, and they've landed on Nintendo Switch. A year and a half after the initial announcement, we're finally able to grab this game on the eShop. Last Tuesday, the 21st of June, marked the start of a brand new season for Fall Guys, complete with new levels, costumes, gameplay, and much more. And best of all, it's now completely free to play on any platform. I only have Switch at the moment, so I've been eagerly awaiting the drop of Fall Guys on Nintendo hardware. So, how was my first week of multiplayer mayhem? How does Fall Guys hold up on Switch? Is it a game Nintendo fans will like? And what do you need to know if you're like me and jumping in for the very first time? Let's talk about it. First, I just want to point out how bright and colorful this game is. From the elaborate obstacle course stages to even the simple menus, Fall Guys really pops on Nintendo Switch. Throughout my entire time with the game, my eyes were constantly flooded with carnival colors, which thematically works extremely well for a game that's this much chaos. Whether you're playing handheld or docked, you'll know exactly what I mean as soon as you start exploring what Fall Guys has to offer. And the music? A couple of the tracks remind me of something straight out of Splatoon, which isn't a bad thing by any means, but I was almost cringing at how similar these tracks are. Regardless, I suppose this kind of song fits well with the game's wacky and colorful vibe. Before starting Fall Guys, I was a little frightened that I wouldn't know what I was doing. With most games, I'm used to having to endure a learning curve, so I was ready. However, I'm happy to report that in Fall Guys, there really isn't much of a learning phase at all. All the credit to the designers here for crafting easy to understand multiplayer challenges that are still fun and engaging, as that's not easy to do. Similarly to a minigame in Mario Party, the loading screen before each round gives you the objective in a few concise sentences, and the concepts presented are simple enough to grasp right away, so it all works extremely well. It usually only takes one go around to fully understand the goal and strategies that work best for each round. Perhaps the trickiest part of Fall Guys is mastering the controls, which is saying something because even these are extremely simple. As soon as you gain control of a bean, you'll quickly realize that on Switch, B is jump and Y is dive forward. That's pretty much it, as this game really just consists of simple platforming. There's one other button you'll need to use situationally. Pressing the right shoulder button allows your bean to grab ledges. You'll get the hang of this one pretty quickly once you face the noob killer trapeze level. Trust me, I know from experience. The challenge levels in Fall Guys are pretty varied design-wise, but most revolve around one of two key concepts: race or survival. These are fairly self-explanatory. Race courses are a race to the finish against 60 other beans. The higher you finish, the more points you get. And survival rounds eliminate any beans who happen to fall off the stage. There are other more unique game types mixed in too. For example, who can pop 30 bubbles first, and a competitive volleyball mode. But most of the time, you'll either be racing or surviving, especially in earlier rounds. In my opinion, pretty much every type of game is equally as fun. I found races to be the easiest as they're less punishing than survival, and the occasional variety rounds challenge you to think a bit differently, which is a great change of pace. At the end of the day, Fall Guys is a test of your platforming skills. And not to hype myself up too much, but even as someone with no prior Fall Guys experience, I was doing well fairly quickly. Of course, I have pretty solid platforming skills from the hundreds of hours I've spent playing 3D platformers, and I was obviously playing alongside a lot of other day one newbies just like myself, but still, don't be intimidated to jump right into Fall Guys. I think you'll do better than you might expect. As you improve at the game, you'll want to play more and more. It certainly has that addicting, one more round feel to it. And as you keep playing, you'll start recognizing each of the challenges, and you'll naturally begin brainstorming the best strategies to use for certain stages. It's a really engaging experience, especially when talking it out on voice chat with friends. One interesting note is that Fall Guys on Switch utilizes HD Rumble, and you can feel it immediately as the start of a round counts down, or if you get whacked halfway across the level. The implementation of Rumble was a pleasant surprise here, and it's something I really love about this particular version of Fall Guys. I played with friends who wanted to turn Rumble off, thinking it hinders their precision platforming, but for me personally, that couldn't be further from the truth. In my book, HD Rumble is a nice extra feature in Fall Guys that absolutely heightens the experience. For what it's worth, I was on Switch Pro Controller, but I'm sure Joy-Cons in handheld mode offer the same great experience. I'm happy to report that the game controls really well on Switch. What you get here is what you'd expect from any other version of Fall Guys. The main difference on Switch is, of course, the performance. If you're coming from a higher spec machine, the Switch version will definitely look a little rough. Right away, you'll notice the framiness of the other bean's movement on screen. It's pretty jarring at first, as even at 30 FPS, movements are super jagged. A lot of the time, especially when spectating other players, you'll see a bean moving with no animations, just gliding along without a care in the world. But as rough as it might be compared to a high fidelity version of the game, you quickly get used to it. The Switch version's performance is a non-factor when it comes to gameplay, which is great. No matter which way you slice it, this is still Fall Guys, and playing on Nintendo Switch is perfectly legitimate. There's even the added bonus of now having this game playable on a portable device, which can't be understated. Also, during my time with the game, I'm happy to say I enjoyed a lag-free experience. This is especially awesome as it was so early into the version's release, with tons of people playing all over the world. Also, I was on a wireless connection, not wired in, so for me, no problems whatsoever with the online gameplay. For a game like Fall Guys that relies on precise platforming, having a smooth online experience is vital, and from my tests, the Switch version absolutely nails it. While the gameplay experience was tight, I did run into some platform issues. At least during the first few days after launch, I was completely unable to queue up with my friend on PS5 via crossplay. We'd both try to invite each other, but the game just wouldn't recognize it. Playing on two Switches, however, the connection worked like a dream. The software was a bit buggy on Switch though. We faced two major issues during the early days after release. For one, the game would crash on random occasions. A Switch crash screen appeared for both me and my friend twice. This was pretty annoying as we then had to reboot the game and re-invite each other both times. However, it was pretty inconsistent, happening only twice total during a 3-hour play session. So in our case, it was just a minor inconvenience. Luckily for us, Fall Guys never crashed during actual gameplay. Both times, it was only on post-game menus after we were eliminated from a match. So in our experience, a crash never had a direct result on a game or our standings, which is best case scenario. The second issue was more minor, but still worth noting. We noticed our experience points meters froze up at certain points. We'd finish a match, knowing we would gain experience, only to see the meter stuck at the same point, like we had never played at all. Our progress still saved in the end and all of our earned experience was retained, but it was slightly frustrating that it wasn't updating in real time. Reaching higher levels grants access to different unlockables, for example different outfits, which definitely would have been fun to check out right away. Fall Guys on Switch is buggy, or at least it was at the time of this recording. But thankfully, besides the Switch to PS5 crossplay failure, nothing was game breaking. I had a great time during this first week of Fall Guys, and I still have much more to play. I can't wait to dive back in, especially because I trust these devs to squash all the Switch version bugs very soon, if they haven't already. I highly recommend Fall Guys to any Nintendo fans out there who love the crazy, unpredictable fun of Mario Party, anyone who enjoys the grind of completing daily missions like in Pokemon Masters, Unite, or even Nook Miles in Animal Crossing New Horizons, or simply those who can't get enough 3D platforming and want the chance to test their skills in a competitive setting. After trying the game myself, I completely understand why it's been such a huge success so far. Have you tried Fall Guys on Nintendo Switch? What do you think of the game so far? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, thanks for watching everyone, and remember to keep it here for more quality Nintendo content. Download Fall Guys, it's free, and maybe I'll see you out there.